Hi, this is Carolyn, and I'm here with Aaron, and we're honored to have on the podcast Hall of Fame tennis coach Rick Macci. He has trained and worked with Serena and Venus Williams, Andy Roddick, Maria Sharapova, Jennifer Capriati, and many more. So, Rick, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No, I just jumped off the court. I'm ready to go. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Great. Okay, so Rick, we know you've coached the best players in the world, 5 that have reached number 1 and multiple Grand Slam champions. But can you give regular adult recreational players like Aaron and me a few pieces of tennis advice?
Yeah, listen, I'm glad you asked me that question because people ask me all the time, like, who's my favorite student of all time? And they think I might be one of the people that you just mentioned. But it's really who's on the other side of the net, that hour, that minute, that second. And that's kind of been the staple of how I kind of do things. So to answer your question, I can help you guys out so much. I might have to do reconstructive surgery. I might have to reverse engineer some things. But no, I love helping anybody, anytime, anywhere. And I work with hundreds of adults. I don't just work with I work with little kids, the best kids in the country, people on the pro tour, and adults. But the best advice would be enjoy what you're doing. Don't make it bigger than what it is. And every time before you hit the ball, smile. It's a game changer because your nervous system will be totally different. Trust me, it changes everything because the club player has a tendency to be more uptight. And the best way to relax is to smile.
Yeah.
Listen, you want to practice and get out of your comfort zone to get in the end zone. Probably some people stand in the same place for 10 years on their serve, or they return from the same place for 10 years, or they stand in the same place in doubles. You got to mix it up. The best of all the rest, they experiment. You have no idea the people on the tour, how they're always tweaking. Even if they're one in the world, like Djokovic, I got to get better. They're always adjusting. Where the club player, they don't like to change, or maybe they don't have the time to practice, but do things differently. Because if you don't try, you're never going to know what you're capable of doing. That's like the best advice I can give anybody because everybody sticks with the same thing. And you got to rattle the cage a little bit.
Yeah. So my background is I never touched a racket till I was 40 years old. I know I only look like I'm 40 now, but I'm 51.
That's right, Aaron. That's right.
But I'm good at tennis because I was athletic, but my strokes are terrible. My serve is abysmal. But I went from a 2.5 beginner to 4.0. Carol and I both got bumped. We both got bumped the year we were starting the COVID year to 4.0, but strictly based on athleticism. And Carolyn's a great athlete. But so are you saying that you could actually fix my strokes and I could be better than a 4.0?
Listen, you have no idea. It's that's kind of what I do different than anybody in the world. I can kind of correct the problem. I got so many tricks in the bag and I can kind of expedite the learning curve. So the technical part is the easiest. Even though you started later, or a lot of people come with bad habits, I can change the muscle memory, reprogram the reflexes. And I love challenges. So both of you would probably be a challenge, but I like that part of it. And people feel things they haven't felt in the longest period of time. But to back up the truck a little bit, because you're an athlete, you can run, you can get set, you're competitive. That's one of the things I look for when I evaluate, young kids, if they have that in their pocket. And that's why a lot of kids, they might have a better forehand, a better backhand, a better serve, and they're going, Rick, how'd I lose to that guy 6'2", 6'2"? Because the other person's there and more competitive and you're on balance. But you got the internal stuff or the genetic stuff. You just need to clean your act up a little bit.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is I'm just like Serena and Venus because kidding, not in a million years. But I did listen to another podcast that you were on that you talked about when you went to see them. And really it was that fight that once you said competition, right, then they were in it. But the stroke production needed work, but you saw that fire in them. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah. First off, you could imagine how people wanted to know why I took a chance. A lot of people saw the movie. I didn't just say, I like you or I believe in you. When you put up your own money and you're taking a big chance, I could have been wrong. They could have got hurt. I just saw something. And remember, I had Jennifer Capriati. She's the most dominant junior player ever. Listen to this. At 12 years old, she won the national 18 hard court and clay court as a 12-year-old. That never will happen again. And that's a record from 1988 that still stands today. So my blueprint for greatness was probably better than anybody in the world, just from Jennifer. And then she was top 10 in the world at 14. So when I went out to Compton, and I have no idea why I went, Richard convinced me, I thought, what am I doing here? Because there was arms and legs and hair and beads were flying off their head. And Serena was like looking at the birds and waving at them. And, Venus was kind of locked in, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it on the outside. And it's a great lesson for any coach, or parent, anybody. You don't judge a book by the cover. The cover could be amazing and the book bad. So I didn't see it. They were all over the place, technically. But I saw they could run and they were kind of quick. But I see that movie all the time with kids. Then when I said, let's play competitive points, and it was me and Serena, because she was like a little prankster. Venus was almost 5'9", okay? When I said, let's play competitive points, the whole landscape changed. I never saw two little girls try so hard. Venus's nose was that far off the ground trying to get a ball. She was 5'9". And Serena, both of them had like a rage. There was something, when I said compete and we're going to keep score, it was like almost scary. Maybe not to me. I just said, this is crazy. What I was seeing, the burning desire. And when I saw that, listen, I have a lot of kids that try hard, but that doesn't mean you're going to be number one in the world. That doesn't even mean you're going to be a pro. But I saw they were bulletproof. What I meant by that, they would handle pressure better because they were all about the competition. And right then and there, I'm looking at these two little pipsqueaks, okay? And I'm going 6 feet, 160, 5'10", 145. And I go, Richard, come here. This is after we competed. I mean, they were popping the popcorn extra better. Their feet were amazing. The preparation got better. It was still a train wreck, semi-train wreck. It got better, but it wasn't like filet mignon. It wasn't like, wow. And I told Richard, and this was in the movie, I said, let me tell you something. You got the next female Michael Jordan on your hand. And he puts his arm around me. He goes, no, brother, man. I got the next two. And then, listen to this. Venus goes, Daddy. And they were hugging and kissing, just like you saw in the movie, a close-knit family like no other. Venus, and I go to the bathroom. So Venus, he goes, yes, V. Venus goes out the gate, walks on her hands for 5 feet. I'm going, listen, all right. Then does backward cartwheels. Because I looked at her body and I thought she should be running track or gymnastics. And I'm sitting there going, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, this was 1991. And if you were big and strong, you weren't nimble. I thought not only could these two little kids, in my opinion, be number one in the world with the right help and the right financial backing, they could transcend the sport because you didn't have that type of athlete back then. Now everybody's kind of like that. So 3 months later, we teamed up. What was going to happen next was a mystery. But at the end of the day, we changed history.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, Rick, can you take people like us and turn us into Grand Slam champions? Older women with children.
Well, I could have you watch it on TV, or I could get you a ticket. I don't know about playing, but
we know.
We're just kidding. We're just kidding.
When people watch the pros, I think the number one thing they should watch is their feet, how they keep popping the popcorn, extra butter, their feet. You know what I'm saying? Because the strokes are going to be hard to imitate because you're kind of locked in with the muscle memory. Unless you come see me, I can definitely change a lot of stuff. But the footwork, just stay alive on your feet. And that's why if you played other sports, you kind of have that baked in extra crispy already.
So what do you do? So do you have an academy? Do you, it sounds like you train, I know you train world-class athletes, and I know you're training kids, kind of coming up through juniors and that, could easily potentially be number one, in the future, but you also train adults. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I have an academy. It's Rick Macci Tennis Center here in Boca Raton. I've done this since 1985. Other than IMG, which was originally voluntary, I'm like the last of the Mohicans. I'm still standing. There's no $1 billion company behind me. amazing business. We don't do a glorified, boring school. I still teach 50 hours a week, very hands-on. A lot of the staff's been with me like 8 to 10 years, which is unheard of. You know what I mean? And we do things different, it's more hands-on, it's more boutique, even though it's a bigger boutique. But no, we do adult private lessons. People come in from all around the world and they're blown away. And I do a lot of video analysis with people, but I teach little kids, 4 years old. I teach 7-year-olds. I put Humpty Dumpty together and they have a foundation like no other. They can learn more in 1 hour and they put it on their phone. They have a blueprint for the future. It's amazing. And then I have some of the best kids in the world that obviously want to be pro, probably over 30 girls I work with on the tour and their coach. I coach the coach who's with them all the time. So just everybody, but a lot of adults. I love helping the adults. You know why? Because they learn more than anybody because they've been locked in to a muscle memory for so long. They've been doing the same thing. I change the elbow and they're going, oh my God. They freak out. Or I change something easy and they experience it. And it's all about feeling. Once you feel it, then you can deal it. You know what I mean? So I love helping adults. I do that all the time. I hit hundreds and hundreds a year. They come, they email me. They want to come in, whether it's for a day or a couple of days. I do privates with them. They want to bring their friends. We could put something together. I just need to know a couple months in advance. Because like I said, I teach 7 days a week. I get up at 3 o'clock. I open up the park every morning at 5 o'clock. At 68 years old, I'm a park ranger. I've just put that on my resume like 5 years ago. And I start teaching at 5 or 6 o'clock, the kids before school. But no, I love helping adults because they're so appreciative because they've been stuck. And it's not just like vanilla. I might give some vanilla, but it has the best sprinkles in the world. So it's a different vanilla that I'll do for them.
So when Carol and I can travel to Florida, we'll come see you.
That's right.
Listen, 15 minutes, you'll go, oh my God.
Okay, I love it.
Tell you what's going on. So then you'll know what to practice on.
Oh,
that would be great. I need that.
Yeah.
I definitely need that. So people would just email you and we can put your email in the show notes a couple months in advance. And then you would get back to them to let them know how to do this.
Listen, my email, it's info@rickmacci.com. I get back to everybody within 24 hours. People text me. Like people call me all the time, like even for the business, because my number's out there. It's very different. And they go, wait a minute, is this Rick Macci? And then they hear my voice. They go, it is, or I go, bang, like the movie. So no, it's so hands-on. And when they talk to me, they can get the questions answered, whether it be about their child or what they're looking for right away. And more importantly, they don't really get that from someone whose name's on the door anywhere in the world. But I do it not because I have to. I do it because I want to. And that's kind of been how I've been put together my whole life, very hands-on, genuine people person. And it doesn't matter what they're calling about. It's not the Venuses of the world or Sharapovas. That's the window dressing. I want them to come and have the best experience. And what's unique about what we do, the methodology, like the teaching methodology, my partner, Dr. Brian Gordon, he has PhD in biomechanics. We put this stuff together 15 years ago, cutting edge, all backed up by science. And then I can explain it and throw in the one-liners and connect the dots and explain it very different. And a lot of the staff's been with me like 8 to 10 years and they know it inside out. So that's why they're super busy with privates, especially with young kids, because they put the technical base. They look like little superstars and they're 7 years old. No bad habits. It's easier with a kid. It's like a piece of clay. But that's part of what I do. But I do it for guys like you. And I love it just the same.
We really appreciate Rick coming on the podcast. We have another episode with Rick where he will give mental tips for adult recreational players and also the best advice he's ever given and received. Thanks so much for listening and hope to see you on the courts soon.